Let's roll.
All right, so Jake's team's up next. Jake, it's a little different build than normal this year. Went some running backs out the gate and got in on the tight end run there in the third, and then mixed in some wide receivers and quarterbacks and stuff. So quarterback room is Dak and Brock Purdy. So Dak in the 7th. He was the 8th quarterback taken, 11th in most leagues, so maybe a little early. Took him over Tua and Kirk and Geno and Goff. Thoughts, Ross?
He went like in the 3rd round one year, didn't he? 3rd or 4th round?
Yeah, he's gone higher for sure.
Right.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like nobody's talking about Dak anymore for fantasy. I mean, he's not old, but I don't know. He just is not. I mean, he could be really good again. Who knows? But
yeah, the offense is set up to be good. So
I think I would rather Tua for sure.
Yeah.
But
Purdy's the backup. He took him in the 18th, so I think that's fine. He'll probably play a waiver wire game or see what Purdy does.
Yeah.
He that guy has weapons too. Just don't know if Shanahan wants to run the ball or pass the ball that much. So running backs look real strong. So
yeah.
McCaffrey in the 1st, Chubb in the 2nd. So that's
real good.
Probably the best tandem in the league with those two. So those guys are going to put up points and be really good. Javonte. So got those two and then waited on running back for quite a while, which is totally understandable. Got Javonte in the 9th, and then got Jamal Williams in the 11th and Samaje in the 12th. So locked up the Denver running game there with Javonte and Samaje.
It's not bad.
Yeah, be interesting to see what Javonte does this year. I mean, surprising that he's playing and see if he can make it through. But
it could be some good trade bait if both of his studs stay healthy. He could deal one of them.
That Denver running game they're gonna run a lot with Peyton running the show. So those guys will be good individually, or if one goes down, one could be a monster. So Jamal Williams in the 11th. I like that. I've been drafting him all year in best ball. I just think that he's gonna be great for the first 3 weeks when Kamara's out. He probably get Taysom Hill come in and take all of his touchdowns at the goal line this year. But
too soon to talk about Taysom Hill, by the way.
It's never too soon. Never too soon.
Jamal Williams on team sacks. He's doing those thrusts when he gets a touchdown.
Yep,
full 3.9.
Hopefully he'll do more this year.
Oh yeah.
Love the running backs. Super strong there. So wide receivers, kind of funny. Jake turned in the DJ Moore card and said, I already hate this pick. So T. Higgins, DJ Moore, took Higgins in the 4th and Moore in the 6th. Jake was missing his 5th as part of the Mahomes deal last year. Totally worth it. And then Pickens has his 3rd receiver, took him in the 8th, took Michael Pittman in the 10th, and then Tony is his 5th. They took in the 16th round. So Higgins, I was doing my research on him. He was kind of a mess last year. So he didn't have a lot of huge games. He was hurt off and on all year. He tried to play and got hurt and stuff. So his numbers don't look great. So hopefully he has better year this year, but wasn't in love with him. DJ Moore, he's on my don't draft list. I don't think he's that good. And he's playing in Chicago, and I don't think they're in basketball.
Yeah, I drafted him really high last year, and he was not good. But I mean, his quarterback was garbage.
Yeah. So
I mean, Justin Fields is better than anything he's had the last several years, but he's still not a great passer. So
yeah. So we'll see if Jake's theory comes true there that he's going to hate that pick or not. But I mean, where he took him is fine. And
what round was DJ?
He's in the 6th, middle of the 6th round. So my first wide receiver taken. That's right where he goes. We'll see. Pickens taken right in the right spot. Wide receiver 30. He's average wide receiver 30. Just depends if Pittsburgh's going to throw the ball more or Pickett can throw the ball.
Pickens went above Deontay, didn't he?
I think he did just a few picks before, but
that'd be interesting
spot. So, and Pickens is a monster. Just depends if he's going to run anything other than go routes. So, Pittman in the 10th, I think is fine. I mean, he went in like the 3rd or maybe not the 3rd, like the 4th round last year.
High last year, yeah.
Super high last year, and it was just a mess in Indy. So he's good. He just might not be as good as everybody thinks, but I think in the 10th, that's fine. And then I love Tony in the 16th. That's a great
Lottery ticket. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be awesome in that KC offense, or it could be hurt, which it'll probably be a little bit of both.
You're not out much.
No. Tight ends, I think, look really strong. It's a Kittle in the third. As Jake said after the draft, he knows Kittle's going to get hurt. So he took Dalton Schultz in the 11th. I think that's a good value. A little bit later here when it's the 14th tight end taken in ours and the 11th and in the rest of the world. So I think that's a good value. They're gonna have they're gonna pass a lot. He'll be a reliable option there for Stroud.
It feels like Kills just had spike weeks in the playoffs the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. I
If he
think,
does that, you're gonna be fine.
yeah, Kittle will win some weeks for Jake and he'll lose some weeks for Jake too when he doesn't show up or they go somewhere else at the offense. So, overall, I think it's a pretty well-rounded team. I think just the questions are maybe some depth at wide receiver. Obviously, Kittle's up and down that we just talked about, and then what does Dak do? So, 1,040 is the point total, which puts Jake third from the last, but Kittle will bump that up some weeks and win him some weeks. So, Sadeh, next pick. He is the 6th pick of the draft. He's missing some stuff. So he was missing a 5th rounder. He was missing a lot of other stuff. A 9th and a 10th, I think, is everything he's missing. I would say maybe other than Dalvin, the shocker pick of the draft was Justin Herbert in the 2nd. So we've been discussing draft plans and best ball drafts all summer. And today is a big fan of the Charger offense, so it wasn't a surprise to see him take Herbert. I just thought it was I was surprised to see him taking that early. So I think that's the big question mark. So they texted me sometime the week before the draft and said, I know what I want to do. I just don't know if it'll be wise or not. So we'll see how it plays out. So
who was his first round pick?
First round pick was Eckler.
Oh yeah. Stacking that. Yep.
So he took Watson in the 15th. I think that's great value there. Totally worth it at that point. So I think Herbert and Watson look good. Running back room is Eckler, Madison, Dobbins, Gibson, Mostert. Super strong. We're missing some picks. So Eckler should be great. Madison talked about all summer if he's going to be awesome or not. You know, as a fellow Viking fan, what are your thoughts? Is he smash or pass?
I can't see Ty Chandler taking the job from him. I think he's going to get the bulk of the carries. So volume alone, I think will be good. And he's pretty good out of the backfield too. He seems durable, and I think he'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I like him got him in the 6th round. I like that value. I think he'll be a good second running back. Dobbins was in the 8th. I think that's a good value there too. His knee still could be just awful, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, his yards per carry was pretty good last year, even with his dragging his leg behind him, so he could be decent. Yeah. But Lamar will steal some rushing yards. But
yeah, Gibson in the 14th, I thought was really good. He was our 44th running back taken. He's like 33 everywhere else, so decent fall. He got a ton of play in the preseason. He's catching a lot of passes, so I think that's a really nice value in the 14th round. And then Mostert, like 20th round pick, just lottery ticket that looks like it's going to pay off for the first few weeks because he's going to be the main guy in Miami there. So
didn't Sadeh draft Antonio Gibson a couple years ago when the coach said they were going to build like a Christian McCaffrey role for him and Sadeh draft him? I'm surprised he went back to that well.
Yeah, didn't
work. Cheap, but
yeah, the 14th round versus like the 2nd or 3rd is a little different.
Yeah.
Whatever. Wide receivers, I think look really strong too. Waddle is the lead. Big Mike Williams is number 2. Gabe Davis 3. JSN is the 4th, and Traylon Burks is the 5th. So
that's a good receiver room.
I think it's pretty good, and he didn't use a ton of early picks on him. So Waddle in the 4th, Williams in the 7th. Love that. Huge stack with Herbert there too, which I think is good. Gabe Davis terrible last year. He went earlier than the 11th round last year. So
yep.
He's a good bet. He looks like he's healthy this year, and maybe Josh Allen's arm isn't hurt this year, the whole year. So the JSN was a great value too. He's hurt, but looks like he's going to play week 1. So a 12th rounder is probably gonna pay off. He went several rounds earlier if he wasn't hurt. And then Traylon Burks is the 20th round pick. Lots of hype on him. Tennessee's terrible, but 20th round, why not? He was.
That's a good room.
Otherwise, he would have went earlier too. So tight ends, I think, look pretty solid too. So Waller is the 3rd round pick. He got the last tight end that of the big ones there. So as long as Waller can stay healthy, so he's been awesome when he's healthy. He just hasn't been healthy. So Higbee's the backup. That probably looks even better now with Cup being hurt. But Higbee in the 13th, really good value there too.
No, yep.
Rams offense. The Rams offense is terrible, but they'll still catch some passes there. So
I guess they have Van Jefferson, but they don't really have any of the receivers. So
no, he'll be the security blanket and get all the catches. 1,049 is the point total for today. Puts him kind of in the middle of the pack. I think that Waller will help out more than the 99 points a week that are projected. But it all comes down to Herbert. Herbert's good, and that Charger offense does what they're expected to do. The Herbert, Eckler, Mike Williams stack is going to be
a lot of points.
Yeah, so big fan of the draft. My best pick would be Herbert. My worst pick would be Herbert too. So just roll the dice there.
Yep.
Ryan's up next. He had the 7th pick. As always, traded it to Solomon. So I don't see why he wouldn't trade it to Solomon. So
yeah, that's weird.
So Ryan, the draft. Let's say I'm trying to think of how to place it. Ryan took a lot of big swings in the draft on guys that were hurt or had a lot of question marks, and saying, "Hey, I'm missing a ton of picks." So he's missing a 1st, a 7th, and a 9th. He got an extra 5th and an 8th. So traded a lot of stuff around because he traded for basically my team last year, and my team was just pretty fucking awful. So he was picks because he got all my terrible players and was trying to recoup. So quarterbacks, Burrow, we took early in the 3rd, and Kirk. So thought that Burrow was a decent value where he went. I don't think that Burrow has the upside that some of the other guys do. In the first, looking at his stats, he doesn't have like the huge games, and sometimes he has like a bunch of like sub 300 point games. So,
but he's had several like 400 or 500 point games, hasn't he?
He has. So it's kind of like
it doesn't run the ball ever, but neither does Herbert.
So Cousins went in the 8th round. I think he's picked maybe a little early, like 10th quarterback here, 12th quarterback in other places. Might be a little more valuable in our scoring system than others. But Kirk was our 6th overall quarterback last year in total points. But you look at it, like he was just like a steady 325 points. It's like never anything that's going to like win the week for you, but probably never going to like lose the week for you either. So
I would have killed for 325 a lot of weeks last year, Eric.
I know. Yeah. Tank would have too.
Yeah.
So my only critique here is probably, I think Ryan said it too after the draft, is probably a little early on Cousins given what was going on with the running backs. So running backs were Derrick Henry in the 2nd. No problem with that pick. I hate Derrick Henry, but there's no factor behind that. It's just because he beats me all the time, and I just don't understand why he's good. But Henry there, obviously there's a concern about a big drop off because he's old and the offense is terrible and the offensive line sucks, but his production is ridiculous. So no problems there. Jonathan Taylor in the 5th seemed like a really good value.
It did.
Good risk at that point. It's less valuable now with him being out for 4 weeks, and who knows what's gonna happen there.
I mean, if he holds on to him, he could still be a monster in the stretch for the Colts or somebody else. But right now, it looks dicey.
Yep. So backups are Tank Bigsby, who we took in the 12th round, and then Zeke in the 13th. So I think Bigsby's fine. I like him to cut into Etienne's work, and seems like he had a pretty impressive camp. Zeke, I think, is just washed up. So not a big fan of that. I just think if you have Henry and Taylor, you probably got to invest a little earlier in running back to back those guys up, knowing that the risks there. Wide receivers look, I think, pretty solid. Olave Debo,
Like him. Yep.
Christian Kirk. I think that those are all good. Olave, mid fourth, Debo in the fifth, Kirk in the eighth. I think those are all solid. Kirk was really good last year. Last year too. Brandon Cooks is the fourth receiver in the 10th round. A lot of
It's not bad either.
He'll be fine in Dallas, and then Mingo is the flyer in the 15th round as the fifth wide receiver. So Brian's usually pretty active in the waiver wire. So we'll see how Mingo does in week 1 or 2, and swap that spot will probably be swapped out for the hot guy after a week or 2. Tight end is Aquanquo. I think that's how you say it, and Sam Laporta. So 2 picks that I like there. I think they're Laporta's getting all the hype as the Lions rookie. That's going to be really good. And then Chig was awesome last year on limited routes. Now he's like the only guy that's going to play tight end in Tennessee. So I really like it. The only problem I have it is Ryan took him in the 6th round. He was the 10th tight end taken. So I just think he could have waited a few rounds and probably still gotten him there. So overall, starting lineup is Burrow, Henry, probably Bigsby to start with. He has Deion Jackson now for Taylor. So we'll see who starts week 1 for the Colts. I think the Olave, Samuel, Kirk combo is good there. So it's 1,017 points. That's the lowest in the league, but we'll see. Burrow, Henry can be difference makers in weeks. So I think Olave's average points is 87. I think he has some upside there too. I like him. So I'm up next, 8th pick. I had a lot of picks, a lot of extra ones. So let's say I'll kind of critique my draft. You can tell me what you think. So Josh Allen was the 1st round pick. I'd say a few years ago, I thought he was trash and had zero interest in drafting him. Obviously, he's been a monster for the last few years, less last year after his arm got wrecked. But kind of wanted a quarterback. Didn't care if it was Hurts or Allen. So
a lot of extra picks.
Just decided to go with Allen.
Yep.
2nd round pick was Tyreek.
Monster.
Contemplating taking him in the 1st just to get him. When Daggy turned in his 2nd round card and it was Cooper Kupp, I did the left hand fist pump. Yes. Kupp.
How much are you doing that right now?
I'll take Tyreek. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken Kupp there.
No.
Somebody else, but was pretty happy with Tyreek there. So, but in the end, that may have been my regret. So I thought I needed to take wide receiver there because I was happy with running backs later in the draft and thought that wide receivers would run out sooner than they did, and that was the reverse. So probably would have preferred to take a running back there to have Chubb or Pollard instead of Tyreek. So 3rd round was hoping for a tight end to come through. Tight end didn't come through, so CeeDee Lamb did. It's a decent consolation prize.
Yep, he's good.
CeeDee, 1st, 3rd round pick, and then Gibbs in was the 2nd, 3rd round pick. I wanted Gibbs to just think he's going to
targeting him a lot.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. 4th round pick was Amon-Ra.
That's a great value for that.
Really good value there. You go. So came back in the 5th, and I need some running backs. It's a Ken Walker. Might be a little early in the 5th there. So this is probably where I wish I would have taken Calvin Ridley in the 5th there, and would have had Pollard or Chubb in the 2nd. But I'll take my chance with the boomer bust guy, Breece Hall. A few picks after Dalvin.
Good value too.
Felt like I have the room to hopefully let him get up to speed and be big down the stretch. So we'll see how that goes. I really wanted a tight end earlier. Didn't get one. So settled for Freiermuth in the 6th. It's
not bad.
I think he's okay. We'll see.
Yeah.
Not super excited about him. Keenan Allen in the 6th. Didn't really need another wide receiver. Didn't really like any of the running backs that were there. So figured get the 4th wide receiver that hopefully will be a big part of that Charger offense. It should be huge. James Cook, took him a little early. He's the 23rd running back taken here, 30th in most leagues, but wanted him, pair him up with Allen, see what happens. It's early.
You got picks to burn.
There. Yep. Took Tua as my middle 7th round pick. Wanted a decent quarterback in the 2nd, or as my backup quarterback. Thought about taking Lamar in the 6th, but figured I should probably get a starting tight end before I get a backup quarterback. So 2. we'll see. I think he had this big upside there if he's not healthy. We'll see.
Yep.
The other probably decent reach, my other third round pick was Dalton Kincaid there as my backup tight end. Probably should have taken Njoku here instead of Kincaid, but with Josh Allen, kind of wanted to see what happens
Stack it.
with Kincaid and see where that goes. So last two picks, Charbonnet, I felt like I needed to have him with Walker kind of getting banged up, and the Seattle guys can run the ball. So wanted to have both.
Yep.
And then John Dotson in the 10th. Big fan of that one. So overall, I would say I wish that I would have taken running back in the second round instead of the wide receiver. And I reached on some guys that I wanted. So we'll see how it plays out.
Seems like build a pretty monster squad. You got a arsenal of extra picks.
We'll see. Maybe it'll be shitty like last year. So who knows? That the grand total comes out to 1,009 points. So I'm 6 points behind Tank's average points. So we'll see. So things
1,009.
1,109.
Oh, okay, 11. Yeah, that makes sense.
1,109.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully Allen is good and Buffalo doesn't fall apart. The wide receivers are really good. Running backs might be a concern. So. Daggy up next, 9th pick. I would preface this by Daggy might not want to ever go to Gopher hockey game with me again after I say this, but nearly every pick that Daggy took, I was like, oh, good. I don't have to worry about taking that guy. But there's a few things that we can talk through here. So quarterback room for Daggy is Daniel Jones and Matt Stafford. There was a couple of years ago where Daggy waited for a long time, took Tannehill as his starter. I don't remember who was his backup, and it pissed him off all year. So he corrected that last year and took Josh Allen in the first. Now he's right back to the late round quarterback deal here. So Jones went in the 12th. I think he's fine.
Yeah, he could be fine.
He in our system last year, he was either dump or mash pretty much. He had some huge weeks where he was good, and then like
against the Vikings mainly
a bunch under 300 points. So we'll see how it goes. Stafford, that's not a fan. I don't think his team is bad. I don't know if his arm still works. He apparently can't like talk to his teammates because they just are on their phones and he's the old man in the room. So
stacking with another guy made sense at the time, maybe, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So running backs, I took Mixon in the 4th. Maybe a little early. 11th running back, taken 15th, and the rest of the world. I just think he was really bad last year, except for
1 week.
1 week. He plays on a team that's really good, so I think that's what helps him, but he just wasn't good. And allegedly he's supposed to get the passing down work back because Samaje's gone, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Aaron Jones was the second running back here, taken in towards the end of the 5th. I think it's pretty good value. Don't really have any problems with that. I think he's good. He's going to be the guy on that's going to get it because you took the other terrible guy, but he's way better.
I have about that.
Went in the 9th round, so he's going to be like the 9th round is I think fine for James Conner. I just don't think he's going to be good like past week 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. Arizona's bad. He gets hurt like all the time. I'm relying on him in another league as like my first running back, and it's terrifying. So 3rd running back, and then the last 2 running backs I think are good value. So Jalen Warren, when the obviously that's why nobody wanted Najee that Corey got a good value on, but Warren could be the ascending talent that takes up that backfield. And then took McKinnon in the 20th. So with Kelsey hurt, McKinnon might be the benefactor of getting all the dump off passes there. And McKinnon was huge down the stretch last year. So just much they use him early versus late. Wide receiver room, Jamar Chase in the 1st. Love it. Great pick. No problem there. Sounded really good in the 2nd. It's less good now. So can't really fault that pick. I think it was fine at the time. There's some obviously some risk with it. You knew he was hurt, but didn't think that he was gonna
from the gate, yeah.
In week 1 for sure, and potentially more. So when he played last year, like running stats, he was in the top 10 wide receivers every week he played last year. So Stafford's terrible. He gets back. Godwin was in the 7th. I think that's fine. Same concerns as Mike Evans. You may not have a quarterback that can throw him the ball, but Godwin should be the easy target guy, or Evans is winning downfield. So it's fine. Lockett in the 8th was his 4th. I think that's fine. JSN might bite into his role a little bit, but
Yeah.
still think a good value. And then Jordan Addison in the 15th, one of my favorites. I think that was really good value. He was our 47th receiver taken, 36th everywhere else. So he's been going a lot higher. So rave reviews from Charch on Jordan Addison. So
your boy, Whiskey Weekend.
Yeah, I have that marked down. So if he's terrible, I'm going to blame Charch. But
that's fair.
I think that's a really good value there. Tight end hits. Took Pitts in the 3rd after all the tight ends went. I can't say a lot of good things about Pitts because he is the start of my downfall from last year.
Do you think Arthur Smith learned from last year, though?
No, I don't. No.
They're going to run even more this year.
They took a running back with the 8th pick in the draft after having a very effective running game with less talented players. So I think they're going to run more.
And feed Drake London. That's what I want to hear.
And yeah, I do think that. So, and I was listening to a podcast where Stephanie Bell was talking about Pitts and his injury, and she was very concerned why he was still wearing a brace like that.
Yeah.
Far after his injury. So
he had like an MCL or something.
I don't remember. I wrote him off after week 2. So, Irv Smith is the backup. I think that's fine. It'd be interesting to see what happens in Cincy with him. He just seems like he can never stay healthy, but he has a ton of talent. If
he's like 22 or something.
Yeah.
I'll see.
So I think when you piece the lineup together without Cup, it's not obviously not as good. So it's 1,059 points, which puts a right in the middle of the pack. It's going to be worse with no Cup, but it really comes down to Pitts, I think, and Daniel Jones. If they are terrible, it's going to be tough for Daggy.
So what's the stable look like starting without Cup?
Then it's either Lockett or Addison. So it's not terrible.
Along with Chase and
Godwin. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not bad.
Not terrible, but the guaranteed 100 to 125 from Cup is real nice. So
yeah.
So last pick in the draft, or last pick in the first round, but obviously had a million extra picks. So Solomon is the guy who had an extra 1st, 2 5ths, and an extra 9th, but he was missing a 3rd and 8th and 11th. So kind of called his shots with what he wanted throughout the draft. So the quarterback room looks like Trevor Lawrence and Russell Wilson. Russ has been swapped out for somebody else post-draft. I don't remember who that was, but Trevor Lawrence was in the end of the 5th round. So
let's go back a little. You know who it was. Who did he drop Russell Wilson for?
Was it Jordan Love?
Oh, he's Jordan Love, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I should know. So Solomon was kind of all in on Trevor Lawrence. He said if he was thinking about taking Josh Allen in the 1st round, didn't think that I would take him. So he was hoping to take him at the turn. But when that wasn't happening, Trevor Lawrence was his target. So he's all over him. We'll see if that Jacksonville offense takes another step with Ridley, and that Lawrence could be nice. He was all right last year overall, but we'll see. Maybe he can do more. The running backs look pretty good. So he started out, obviously took the 2 at the turn with Bijan and Saquon.
That's pretty damn solid right there.
1st, 2nd turn. So those guys should be monsters all year long. Are going to be hard to compete with. Waited until the 7th round to take the 3rd running back of Cam Akers. So I think Sade pointed it out right away that I think that Cam was one of the guys that kind of haunted Solomon a few years back. So he's surprised to see him on the roster. But we talked about there's a new analytics team that doesn't remember that happened. So
cleaned house after last year.
Yeah. I think Akers is fine. End of the year, he was awesome last year. But the team might be awful, and we'll see where that goes. So Akers is fine as a 3rd. Achane is the 4th running back in the 9th round.
Looks better now.
Yeah, he might be we'll see what he's like. It could be a quick spin if he's terrible from Solomon, but maybe he'll be good. And then in the 18th round, someone takes Cordero. I just, nitpicking here. He took his kicker in the 10th round and then took his 5th running back as his last pick. I think,
First kicker picked.
Yes, first kicker picked. If you don't take Daniel Carlson there in the 10th, AJ Dillon was available. Khalil Herbert, Brian Robinson, the same Jalen Warren, Jamal Williams. Those guys are available as your 5th running back. So I definitely like those guys better. I'm probably the only person that's taken a kicker before his next pick. So
he dropped Cordell already, didn't he?
He did. I don't remember who he picked up for that either, but yeah, he's moved on. I just think he could have locked up Herbert or somebody like that for his 5th and been pretty solid. So anyway, wide receiver room looks really good. Garrett Wilson, Mari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Christian Watson, and Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
In on the Garrett Wilson, he's fun. No problems with where he's picked. Amari Cooper, not my favorite, but fine where he went.
Was good last year too, yeah.
He was good. Yeah, so if Watson is not the train wreck that he was last year, maybe Cooper is even better. Ridley went in the middle of the 5th. I think he could be a lot of fun. He was awesome. They were not awesome last year. He was not playing last year, but he looks awesome in training camp from all videos where you see him running against air. He looks like he's running super fast. So don't know what you're comparing it to, but he looks good. I like that one. Christian Watson as a 4th, I think is really good too. Huge boom bust guy. Like it. Sutton probably looked really good with Judy out. Now Judy might be back a little sooner. So we'll see how that goes. That spot might rotate, but some talk in camp about Sutton being good too. Tight end, Hawkinson and Musgrave. I think Solomon is like maybe more excited about these two than Bijan and Barkley. So we'll see. So Hawk was his target at 1.7. I thought it was a little risky when he took him just because Hawkinson hadn't played and not sure hadn't practiced. He didn't know what was going on with him, but now he's got the contract and magically he's fine. So
weird.
He was targeted a ton. Stats were really good at the Vikings once he moved over, and Solomon loves the Musgrave pick. So
oh yeah. Next Kelsey I hear.
Yep. So that's it. That's everybody's draft. Those are just kind of the thoughts. So who's winning it all, Ross?
I think it would be. I'm probably gonna put my $5,000 on you to win the APL this year.
All $5,000.
I might.
All right. Who's?
I mean, there'll be some variance. Things can happen, but I think you're gonna be in the top 2 for sure. So
who's gonna finish last?
I think the cup injury could hurt Daggy a lot. I mean, we're losing your 1st round pick right off the bat. I mean, hopefully it's only for a game. Might be IR, might be 4 games, but hopefully he comes back strong. But that's a tough one.
You thought he was done texting you before. Now he's definitely done texting you.
Don't call again.
Yep. Don't call again. Don't chat me at work. You're dead to me. I think that.
I'm interested to see if any team will buy and sell the same year multiple weeks like I did last year. That was kind of unprecedented.
Could it be you again?
I hope not.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. It was fun.
You enjoyed picking up different shapes of trash on the waiver wire and package them up with later on picks and trade them to me.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Other
than Garrett Wilson, none of it worked out.
You have to find a trade partner this year.
All right. I don't believe you.
You traded me Deshaun Watson. I started him over Geno Smith, who's still mashed on my bench.
Your hatred for Geno Smith was impressive.
God, that guy.
All right.
Should be a good year though, buddy.
All right.
Tomorrow night.
Don't forget to turn in your bet sheet.
Ooh, tomorrow night goes down.
Yep. All right. Later.
Later, boss.